everybody. Okay, one last time, I promise. This is going to be one last time. Now, as I was putting my second one together, I actually thought to myself, and I cannot believe I didn't think about this earlier. It did occur to me, that's not true. It did occur to me, but I thought, let me just quickly show you before I start, because we don't want this to be another whole long tutorial again, because I know you don't want to be sitting there watching for hours and hours and hours. Some people like it, some people just want to get on with it. But do you see, if you look, this is our box, and this is your spindle. Now, if you match your box and your spindle up, do you understand what I'm saying? You're getting, and it's, I've checked it, it is 4 millimeters. That is what you have on this end, right? That's why you've got that little bit of a pull, because we're using the tube all the way through. For the people that use inches, I don't know how you say this, but it's 3 in. On your first inch, it's 3 of those in. That is what you have as an extra. Now, I'm not going to say that the other way isn't good, because personally I like it. It doesn't give it more support because the tube isn't going all the way through the whole structure. The tube is just sitting in the middle, so it's not going through the whole structure as it were, but it is pushing up against the side, therefore giving that a very, very firm hold. Okay, it's really giving it a nice firm, you see, I don't know if you saw the one I did yesterday. It's giving that a nice strong firm hold, right? But let's try it this way. So it's a bit different, but it doesn't involve cutting into the ends. The only thing, and you're going to go, oh, but it's easier, you are going to have to cut out an extra 5 on each, so an extra 10 of these. Okay, but it's the only way it's going to be done, because this will compensate for 2 mils on each side. Okay, it will also give, it should do, again, you know what I'm like. You all know what I'm like. Haven't done this before. Haven't done this before, coming on camera. I mean, if there's one thing I definitely don't do like everyone else, that's not true. I do plan them. The hexagon boxes I did plan for you all, because they were much more complex and they needed to be planned, and you needed to have the measurements in order to make them. But with these, I just go for it. I just go for it. I cut the pieces out, I look at them, I rough it out. Sometimes, like you say, we're having to measure here. I wanted to see what the mils were, and it's 4 mils, just short of. So it's a couple of more mils than I said. I thought it was about a 2, but it is a 4 on the end. So listen, it depends how long you, I'll say it again, you want to spend on a project, right? Anything is possible in life, okay? Anything is possible. You can make anything fit, and you can. Anything's possible. It depends how long you want to spend on each individual project. You know, once you start having to do lots and lots, oh, I've got a bit of a funny cut on this. It's not cut out properly. Oh, that's not good. I'm going to cut another one out, because anybody that knows me knows that will drive me insane. That really will drive me insane, and you're going to see that bit. So I will just quickly, I've got the dies here, so I can just quickly cut another one out. So we're going to go in and make this box yet again, right? The same way as we did before, but this time we're having to close it off, right? We're having to actually close it off at the top. We're not putting anything on these, okay? You'll be very happy to know if you've watched the other tutorials, you'll be happy to know that is now over. Now, I'm just thinking, I've gone ahead and done this. I've rushed ahead and done this, but you are going to have to centralise your circles to some extent in the middle of the hexagon. You are. I never do it, okay? I never do it. I rough things out. I eyeball things measuring. I'm a bit, I know Jodie says the same, but I'm very much like Jodie in that sense. I understand what she means. If you can eyeball something rather than have to measure the whole thing out, I'd rather just eyeball it. You know, let's face it, if you're not making massive adjustments where you're having to measure things, then yes, I agree, eyeball it. But yes, you'll be happy to know we're not doing that. We're just going to stick them on. Right, which way are we going with this? We're going that way. Just have to check. Just keep checking it every turn. That's the way I find best to do this. Now, I mean, I am Speedy Gonzales. Oh, it's red tape with it, because now we know what we're doing. And in hindsight, I still would have come and shown you both ways, because again, I'll tell you when that will look lovely. The first way we've done it, and I have cut some acetate because, oh, is it Mary? I think the lady was called Mary. Mary, you commented on my post, and I'm sure it was Mary. Apologies if it wasn't, but I think it was, who had said about the acetate. Let me just quickly cut one of these out. I'm sorry, I've got to. I'm really sorry, because it would just drive me in absolute insane. I promise I will be so quick. I've got my machine here. But yes, Mary had said about acetate, and I really wanted to do it because I thought, you know what, it's a really good idea. And I think with the other idea, if you're going to use acetate, because I did have a look at some Tombolas yesterday on the internet. I did have a look myself. I'm just going to run this through, and yeah, they are see-through. The Tombolas are see-through. So where the first tutorial, if you're using acetate around it, you're going to see in that tube. Okay, I'm going to do this. The next one I'm doing is the acetate, and then I'm moving on because I've thought of another thing to do as well. Sorry, that would have driven me absolutely bazonkers, and I'm, you know, very finicky. Right, how quick was that? So sorry, I just had to recut that. So yes, when you're using the acetate, here we go, 300 GSM, that is, microns, sorry. I don't know if you can see that, but I have started cutting out. Acetate's not, I did say it yesterday, the easiest of materials to work with, okay? It really isn't, especially heavy acetate. Yes, heavy microns, and that is a 300 micron. So it is heavy. It does have to be cut round. It doesn't matter what dyes you use, doesn't matter what brand you use. When you are using a 300 micron acetate, you're going to have to cut round it because it's a very hard material, okay? But back to the box itself. Right, let me just do this before. I'm rushing ahead and I'm trying to tell you loads of things. You are going to have to make sure this is pretty centralised, okay? It might be worthwhile. Let's just move the extras out the way, okay? Because that's how we had them before, didn't we? We have the 2 extras on each side. So it might be worthwhile measuring it out first and sticking your 2 on there before you put it on the box. Then your first 2 are done, okay? Now, I'm not going to measure it. If you go back to the tutorial, okay, in the beginning, there's a couple of tutorials that I've done on this. You will find the measurements, because I think I told you it was a 9, wasn't it? So 4.5 was your central, okay? Probably even do it on your mat. You could probably, in fact, that's a good idea. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm just bringing this down to my mat. I've got it on the 4. Okay, we've got it it's on the 4 there, because that's the middle. And I'm just going to come in and I am eyeballing this because I'm not worried about it. You know, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Okay, I can't now eyeball them, but you see, if you do them together first before you stick the bottom one on, you can put them together side by side, right, and eyeball it. Okay. So let's go in with our top part. Again, happy people, we're not doing that first bit. All we're doing is we're going to compensate with the, let's just make sure we're going in nice and straight. We're going to compensate with the nuts. We're calling them nuts, instead of putting the tube through. But yeah, when you're doing the acetate, that's what I was going to say. Last one, and then we can get our finger in there. Right, let's just bring that open. Can really get our finger in there. See, now you haven't got the thing. But what I'm saying is when you use the acetate and you put the tube through, you can then start using different coloured tubes inside it. I'm going to show you what I mean. So the first way, it is still good and will be a brilliant idea if you're using acetate, okay? So there we go. That's, you'll be happy to know, there we go, that's our box. It's going to fit and there is nothing there. Oh, hang on. Let's see if we can get this in. It's going to fit in, she says. But a little bit. It will fit in. Do you know what you might be better off doing? You might be better off, instead of putting a little lid on it, I think, put a latch on there. Put a latch. And I'll tell you something else as well. I was looking, I don't want to confuse you anymore, but I was looking at the, oh, what's it called now? I've got it down here. Let's get it right. It's the Tantalus gift box set. I had a look at that, but no, you can't use it. But there's a nice tab in there. Well, you've got tabs anyway. It's not difficult to make a tab. But do that because it's going to close. Right, let's get back to this. Okay, so you would have stuck, like I've just said, the two on first. So you would have got those. If you want to get them completely centralised, you can get them to the exact perfection. So both handles. It is important. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not important. It is important for sure. But because you don't want a wonky, ends. You need it to be straight, don't you? So it is important. So do that first. Put your two on first before you put your lid on, and then that's your, you know, you can put both of these on. So let's just get to the point where we would have been before, but obviously without the tube. Okay, so you still got three. Okay, do you understand? You still got your three. You've got your end of your box and you've got your two. Just gonna stick that one on there. Yeah, we've got a bit of an opening there. Put a nice lock on the front of it. Put a lovely lock. I mean, I'm just doing this so that I can get this out to you. I really do hope someone's gonna do this. I really do hope you're gonna give it a go. I'd love to see what you come up with, because everybody's different and everybody comes up with different ideas. Yeah, I've just got a little bit, it's popping a bit open here, isn't it? But that's because this is a complete match. So there isn't that push. With the other one, with the tube through it, you've got a push. You haven't with this, but it's not an issue. You're just going to have to, instead of making a handle for the top, you're going to have to make a latch. That's all it is. So don't worry about that, okay? Right. So let's get this right. Make sure I've got this right. Yes. Now, because you're having to compensate. So this is what we would have had before. We would have had our two nuts on each side with our ends. So we would have had our two nuts. And then we would have gone in with three, wouldn't we? And then the two on the handle part. But because we are having to make up 4 mils, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to start doing this now. Because we're having to make up 4 mils on each side, you're going to need to stick 5. So it's a lot of cutting. So you've got 5, I think I did say this, 10 and 12, 13, 14. You've got 18 of those to cut. But, you know, it's a different way of doing it without having to put the handle through. Do you see what I mean? So yeah, 18, having to cut something 18 times. Okay, it's a bit of a nightmare, you know. But if you don't want the tube, you can't be bothered with the, you know, reinforcing, cutting in there, reinforcing the sides. You can't be bothered to do the, what did we do the first time? Craft knife. If you don't want to do all that, you're not confident enough, you don't want the little pull on it, then this is what you've got to do. Now, I'm hoping this will work. I hope I have compensated enough. I think 5 extra is going to be fine. I have checked. I have checked, and 5 together plus the glue should give us a 2mm, okay? And that's on each side. Now you can't, please don't change this. Please don't change this formula, and definitely don't stick anything on this side, right? But the handle side. It's very important, and it's also very important, this is another thing, to use the same size cardstock, right? We have got a little bit there, haven't we? Don't worry, okay? But don't worry about that. I'm going to put a nice tab on there and you won't see that, okay? Where am I? Don't change, that's it. Very, very important, and I will stress it again. You must use the same, it doesn't matter for the decoration. Decoration, use what you want, okay? But for the actual making of the box, the nuts, all of these, you must use the same size cardstock, okay? This is a 300 GSM cardstock, right? And I've used this same one. How many have I got there? Did I put 3 on? I hope I did, and I didn't put 6 on the other one. Yes, I think I have 3. Yes, that's right. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yes, this is a 300 GSM. It's heavy cardstock. But as long as you are using the same size cardstock all the way through, I mean, personally, I wouldn't work with a lower card weight on these. And that's coming from me, you know, I use really light cardstock. Everybody who watches me knows I don't use heavy cardstock. But I'm going to tell you, you do need a 300 for this. You must have a 300 for this. Right. Okay, so not so bad. The look of this, I have no idea how it's going to look. It might look a bit different. And like I say, we don't know if this is 100% going to work yet. Funny me. Right, let's get this in here. So you stick your 5. Let's stick the 5 on top of this 2. This really isn't difficult, I promise you. I think sometimes I overcomplicate. And because I want to tell you everything, because I want to tell you how it's working, the inner workings and everything, it's probably complicating it somewhat. And maybe you don't need to know about the 4 mils. You just need to know how it goes on, don't you? You're not really interested about the 4 mils. Right, so levelling this up, okay? Like Richie Sunak, what do I say? We're levelling this up, okay? So that now, doesn't matter if you've got your hexagons all lined up in the middle, because they're now really pretty much irrelevant, okay? You could have used circles, but let's use what we've got in the let's just move that. I just want to get that. It is important you get it centralised somewhat, because you are going to see, can you see, you are going to see the sides a bit more. We're bringing the sides out to meet the handle this time, right? So let's put that over there. Oh gosh, what am I like? I should have set this up. Right, I'll fly through these. I'll fly through these, I promise you, I promise. I'm going to get this done at Speedy Gonzales speed, okay? I should have done these before because you really need to see me sticking them. But you know what? Forward it on, and get to the bit where I'm sticking these on, and then you're going to see if it's going to work. Again, it's going to be a pretty painful process because we've got to wait for it to dry as well, haven't we? So it's a bit of a painful process. Sorry, everybody. But I promise I'll speed through, okay? I will. I didn't think. Last time I had already done one, and now you've got to watch me do 2 more. So apologies for that. Just hit forward. Beauty of the internet. So yes, while I'm sitting there, I'm going to tell you though. So for those of you that haven't decided to Speedy Gonzales through it, okay, I was looking at this last night, okay, this rotating memoirs, this bottom. I wish I hadn't, you know, I keep saying I took 3 years out of crafting. I wish I hadn't, because this idea I'd had prior when I first bought them, and that is you can make a carousel, is it called a carousel wheel? You know the wheels that you get at the fun fairs? Let's just make sure I've got these all in line. You know the little wheels you get at the fun fairs, and you sit in the little carts. Is it called a Ferris wheel? It's not a carousel, is it? A carousel is like with horses. Is that right? With horses, a carousel? I can't remember. Let me just Speedy Gonzales through this, sorry. But you can because, and I'll tell you why this is definitely going to work. I'm going to have to do some readjustments to the bottom, right? But if you have and everybody knows it's all going to be Tonic, you know, the products I'm using are all Tonic because they are my go-to products and I like to use them. But if you have this, everyone remember that? Quick show. Octagon layering floral set. It came with the release of the first sort of hexagon boxes and square lid boxes, or I think I'm not sure which one it was, but it was with that release. Now, if you have that die set, we're going to make a Ferris wheel with. I'm going to have to have a look at it again. Okay, it's the carriages. It's the carriages that are going to, I'll put this on right. Yes, I have. It's the carriages that I might struggle with, but we're going to use this, and we're going to turn it into a Ferris wheel that goes round. You know, it goes round that way. Using this, okay, using our layering die from there, we're going to make a Ferris wheel. And I'm not going to come on, okay? I am 100% not going to come on with that until I know what I'm doing, okay? Because it's not going to be a small project, okay? It's going to be a lengthy one, right? But we will be using the rotating memoirs, and you know what else as well? When I first did this, I did look on the internet, and there were some of these oh, silly me, I shouldn't have put this on first, should I? I should have waited. Never mind. Don't do that again, sorry. Just make sure you wait for your bits to... take your tape off after you put the thing on. I've lost my train of thought again, sorry. I should just stick to doing this, shouldn't I? And stop telling you what else I'm going to do. But I'm going to have a look at it anyway, and we'll be using the... we'll be using that, and these 2 sets. So your Tea Chai Caddy. Why do I have such problems saying that? It's like a tongue twister, isn't it? Chai Tea Caddy. It is like a tongue twister. But you're going to be using that for the carriages, the rotating memoirs for the side parts, and then the octagon layering set. So the only thing we're adding to this is the octagon layering set to make a carousel. I have no idea if anybody has attempted this before, I'm not sure. Somebody may have already done this in the past, but they would have had to have made their own measurements from it. So I don't know. Right, we're nearly there. Sorry about that. So anybody who's forwarding on now, we're nearly at this part where we're sticking them on, right? Oh, no, that piece of no, that's fine. I hate red tape. Yes, anybody that's forwarded on, you're probably now nearly at the part. You're now nearly at the part that you need to be at. Yes, Ferris wheel. I'm quite excited about the Ferris wheel. You know what? This rotating memoir set, it is really versatile. There are so many things you can use with that mechanism. Honestly, I looked at the other one, the Tantalus, and there would have to be two. Anything can be done, okay, but there would have to be way too many adjustments to the Tantalus gift box to get it to this. So I'm going to say, if you want a long project, you're not going to get that box, the tea caddy on there, that's for sure. You would have to find something small, or you would make it yourself. So anything is possible in life. It could be done, but there would have to be quite a lot of adjustments to that. Right, sorry, there would have to be quite a lot of adjustments. Right, so this is the same way, okay? This is exactly the same way that we did before. So we're just, you had the two that went over the edge. You're now putting the smaller ones on. So 3 of these, exactly the same as we were before. We're nearly there. What time are we? I always end up doing, oh my gosh, half an hour. Right, I'm going to Speedy Gonzales through this. And then next time you see me, hopefully you shall see a nice Ferris wheel. And I will post the... I will post the acetate one. Because, you know, if you're going to do the acetate one, use the spindle. Because you can have all different colours. You can make your spindles all different colours in the middle. Show that, you know, the spindle's actually a really nice mechanism. It's a really pretty mechanism. It's a shame that it's hidden. So, you know, I will show you anyway. I'll show you how that works. I don't know how that acetate is going to stick down, because remember that's going to be completely see-through. So you're going to get those joins of glue at the sides. So without really seeing it, you know. Right, we're nearly done, everyone. So this is going, isn't it, on here, onto your handles. Whoop. So plenty of glue. I'm going to stop this, I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to come back and show you how it works, because that's what you want to see. So on that one, and then, that's right, and then on here, we glue this down. So with this extra 5 pieces at the side and the glue, we hope, one would hope that it's going to work. So remember, stick it on this piece and not on the outer edge, and that we shall see. Okay, we shall see. Should compensate for, remember, centralize. Okay, I'm just bringing this up a bit. Centralize that, and then I'm going to hit stop, wait for that to dry, and just quickly come back and show you if it has worked. Okay, we shall hope. Now the outer edge is going to be fine. I'm just hoping that we have compensated enough. That's, I want to show you that. Can you see? So you have got, this way, you've got a bit more, you can see more on the outer edge, right? That way you can see a bit more. So it does visually look a bit different. but let's see if it works. Right, I'm going to come back and we shall see if this works. I shall see you in a minute. Right, I'm back, and you will be happy to know it fits perfectly. Okay, right, the only difference is definitely the opening. Okay, you aren't going to be able to put that on. Okay, you're not going to be able to put a handle. Well, you can, no, you're not going to be able to put a handle on this one. If you make it this way, the easier way, so cutting the 10 extra sides, you will have to put, but it will work perfectly. I can't put a latch on there now because I've got to decorate it first. But all you would do you see? You see? You just put your latch on here and here in the middle, and that will close that up perfectly. Okay? You won't, you know, that's not going to affect it. So this works. Now, yes, see, I've got a little, it's popping open as it's turning because it needs a latch. I promise you it will be fine. Now, I am going to say one thing doing it this way, and that is I prefer this way. There is much more stability in this than there is in this one because you haven't got a handle in the middle. So it's a lot lighter. You'd have to get some heavyweight balls in there. But yes, I mean, look at that. It does turn. Forget this lid. I promise, I will go away and decorate this, and I will put a latch on the front, and you won't see that. But do you understand? It's not as heavy. Okay, it works. It does. You don't have to do it that way. If you just want to do it this way and you are using it for tombolas and you're going to put balls in there, it's going to be weighted down anyway. But there is no doubt in my mind you have to have a latch. So what I'll do is I won't put this video out yet. I will go away and decorate this, and I will put a latch on here so that you can see that it does function okay. And I'll go and have a look for I'm sure I've got some little mini bingo balls that I can put in here to show you. But it does work, okay? So if you can't be bothered to do it the other ways, again, you just see why you have to latch this. You have to. Because the difference in the two, right, is the spindle. Because it's pushing, it's actually helping your structure, believe it or not, the spindle, because it's pushing up against, so it's giving you real rigid, I can't say the word, you know what I mean, it's rigid. It's a real rigid, do you see, it's not going anywhere, it's very, very stable. I'm not saying this isn't stable, it still works. It probably slides around a bit better, if I'm being honest. Slides around much better than that one, but two different ways of doing it, okay? And you can see the difference in the finish as well. Let's just show you the difference. I want to try and show you so you can see the difference in the finish. Yes, you can just see that, can't you? So you can see the outer edges on this one, right? You can see the difference. This one doesn't have the outer edges. It sits much more, you know, it's closer to the edge. This one doesn't, okay? But there's two different ways of doing it, or I've given you three different ways now of doing it, and I do like both of them. I think once this has been decorated and it's got a pretty little latch on there which is holding that completely level, which it will do, it will hold that. Once you've pinched that in the middle with a latch, that will hold there perfectly. It really will. So both ways are nice ways, different ways. This is the quick and easier way. This is a bit more tricky, but if you're going to make them, you will understand. If you're going to make both of them, you'll understand what I mean in the difference between the two makes, and that this is much more rigid. And if you're using it, it's nice to have something really rigid. I will go away and I'll put some balls and I'll come back and I'll do a quick latch to show you the difference in the two. But there you go. So it does work cutting down 5 extra on each side for the outsides totally does work. It's not going to go anywhere. It really won't go anywhere at all. It just visually looks, they visually look different. When I'm looking at them from this angle, visually, can you see that they do look different? It is personal choice here, absolute personal choice. So I will come back very, very quickly. I might do this in 2 tutorials. I'm just looking at the time. Because it just takes forever to upload otherwise. But there you go. I mean, we've now really covered every single possible way there is to make this box. But I like both. I do like both of them. I'm not even going to pick a favourite because they're they're very different. They are very different. One is, yes, they're just different ways of doing it. So yes, totally possible. Have a go, and I will come back and just show you the decoration and just show you that that will fit in there really nicely, and you're not going to get this popping open or anything once that latch is on. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, my lovelies, I'm back. I can't see my computer screen at the moment, so I just thought I would come back. Now, oh, I haven't stuck this down. I just decorated the lid. Now, I really was a bit silly on this. Here we go. I'll just put this back up. I don't want to sort of make this any longer than it needs to be. Now, I put the lock on that was from the Tantalus gift box die set. Okay, it's not the best lock. I've used, you really need to make sure you're using a very strong card as well, and I went with the gold, and I should have actually gone with the craft card, so I might readjust this a little bit. I also didn't stick these filigree parts on until afterwards, but I thought I'll just go and get the balls from the bingo cage just to see if it works. Now, there is a lot of weight. I've got a little bit. There is a lot of weight. I mean, it's keeping completely closed with that lock, but you definitely need a very stable lock here. So you can go away and think about that. I mean, I really don't think I need to tell you how to put locks on the side of things, because you're probably all used to doing that anyway. But that is a lot of weight, right? I just, you know, I thought this was going to be quite a Christmassy one, and I'm going to hide these up. I thought I might hide these up with, you know, little poinsettias. Or I don't know, I had these that I thought I'll just use some bits up, but then the roses aren't going to make it very Christmassy. But I might be able to put some poinsettias in there, but that's what I'm going to do. But yes, there's your lock, and there's your, you know, your bingo balls. 44, I don't know what that one is. I do actually. Oh, wasn't it funny that I had to pick that one out, that particular number? But there you go. So you can see that it is a very functional tombola. This is our second, you know, this is the second one that we made with the outer edges. So it's very functional. There's a lot of weight in there. Definitely works. There's no bending or anything, so I'm quite happy. That's really lovely. And remember, if you're doing raffle where you're putting paper and affirmations in them, it depends what you are going to use it for. If you're putting affirmations in there and, you know, paper, it's not going to be heavy. Do you see what I mean? There's not going to be no weight to it. But I wanted to put a lot of weight in this. These were from my bingo game, actually, and I think there's 90... There's a lot of, they're very heavy, these. They're not, this is a big weight game. So I'm not sure if you get the smaller ones, the balls might be a little bit less weight. But just to let you know, that's holding a lot of weight in that box. So yes, both boxes, just to show you, they have worked. They both work perfectly. If you didn't want to buy balls to put in there, you could always write on pieces of paper numbers. You don't even have to go out. You know, use your little cards inside there, you know, and write them on yourself. And then you don't, if you're worried about weight, you know, it might be better in hindsight, possibly with this one where you haven't got the latch, but you could put a latch on this one. Remember, you don't have to have a handle. But if you do, then maybe use paper inside. But it will carry a decent amount of weight. Both of the boxes will carry a very decent amount of weight. This one might be even better because we've got more weight inside there with the... So I'm not worried about putting that in there, but I think if you are going to put weight in it, you are going to definitely have to put a locking mechanism on there, and make sure the card is strong enough because you're going to be opening it all the time and using it. So that's the end. I'm not going to come back and do any more. You will find your own other ways, I'm sure, but that's 3 different ways. Well, I haven't decorated this one yet. I will do, but those are 3 different ways of making your box to fit. This one to size, these ones straight through. I'm going to make one more. These are all going to be gifted, apart from this one that I'm keeping for myself because I absolutely love this one. I will do the acetate one so that you can see, because it will look so pretty with that going through it, but I don't need to come back and show you that because I've shown you the tutorial. So there's 3 different ways that I've given you of making these tombolas. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to now finish that one and come back and do this lovely Ferris wheel. I'm going to come back and do the Ferris wheel using the same 2 sets, but we're just adding on. I'll just quickly show you just in case. I don't know if you have these already. Remember, Tonic fan again, I'm going to say. So these are things that I have in my stash. If you're fans, you probably may have all these in your stash as well. I'm not sure if you can get this anymore. I don't know about that. But that's what I'm going to be making next. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next tutorial. And happy Halloween, everyone. Take care. Bye.